Hello, everyone. I am Peter from Basketball Network, joined here with my co-host Will,
Hi everyone, it's a pleasure to being here.
and we have a very special guest, Slovenian legend, European legend, NBA legend Goran Dragic here. Goran, thank you for being here with us.
You're welcome. It's nice to be here with you guys.
Yeah, you've been running your camp in Lasko for 11 years now. What inspired you to start it, and how does it feel to see the next generation of hoopers before your eyes grow and have the same kind of path like you did back in the day?
I always want to give something back from where I'm coming from. I was born in Slovenia, spent my youth here, and learned my first basketball steps. And now that I'm retired, I can dedicate myself to these young kids. And like you said before, it's been really remarkable 11 years doing this. Why I'm doing it? Because I like it. I remember when I was a kid, I met Rašo Nestarević. I had 11 years old. I was 11 years old, and he was my idol at that time. He gave me a Minnesota Timberwolves T-shirt, and I was sleeping for the next 5 years in that T-shirt and dreaming, one day to play in NBA. So that's why this is my, purpose. You could say.
And you started your career here in Slovenia, then you played in Spain, and that was all before you actually went to the NBA. But you had a journey before people in the States were able to know who you are. What did this process of playing in Slovenia and then later playing in Spain? How did that prepare you for your journey to the NBA and to the United States? Because it's not just a change in the basketball sense, but it's also a change in your life as well. It's a different culture, different mindset, different environment. How did that prepare you for the next part of your journey with the NBA or in the NBA?
Yeah, if I'm honest, it was not easy. At 18, I went to Spain, first time away from home, from my family, different language, different culture, and new team. I remember we had a Spanish coach who didn't speak English at all, so had to learn how to speak Spanish. But it was fun, that's how you prepare yourself for the next, chapter in your life, and definitely helped me to grow as a human being, as a person, as a basketball player. And, then down the road, when I went to the States for the first time, was all over. All over again, new people, new team, different language. Especially I had some hard time because of the slang, especially in the locker room.
I was about to ask you, what was the cultural shock,
I was looking around left, right, what they're saying. But, Boris Dia was from Europe at that time with Phoenix Suns, and he helped me a lot. So, but it was fun, it was a lot of different challenges that I had to overcome, but on the end of the day, it was good days, bad days. But when you have a purpose, I always want to play in NBA. I always want to showcase my talent, and it was not easy, but I'm happy. I'm happy that I went through struggles, and even I always say to the people, when everything is nice and quiet and you're playing well, and this is the easiest, like you can lose yourself in that mood quite quickly. But when you struggle, then this is the real deal. Then you see from what kind of character you have. You have to fight to get out of this empty space, how would I say? And it was fun, but at the same time was tough.
And apart from the slang, is there any other cultural shock that was like
food? I remember the first time I went to I think it was what was the name of the restaurant? It's really famous. They give like big portions. Cheesecake Factory.
Oh.
I went to Cheesecake Factory, and they're like, poof, putting like with a shower. Like I was like, damn, they eat a lot here. And I remember it was a little bit sweet. The bread was like sweet. I don't know. I had that feeling, was sweet.
Yeah, maybe everything they like it with a little bit extra flavor.
Yes. And I didn't like it at first. And Yeah, I missed a lot my food from back home. So
Yeah, I mean the Balkans
yeah,
is really
exactly. Yeah.
famous for food.
But then
So
I found one Balkan
yeah.
restaurant. They have cevapi,
Oh, were
pljeskavice.
they as good as here?
They were decent,
Okay,
okay, but hey,
yeah,
for me was good
more than
because
enough.
yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, I want to circle back a little bit. You landed in Phoenix, and you had Steve Nash there, one of the all-time great point guards. You talked a lot about picking his brain during flights, sitting next to him. What was like the general influence he had on you as a young player and as you developed even more?
I mean a lot. I remember the first day when I walked into the locker room, and I was sitting waiting to meet all the players, and Steve Nash walked in and immediately, handshake. I'm Steve. If you need anything, just let me know. I'm here for you. I was like, whoa, you know. But then, I was sitting next to him on the plane just to see how professional he was, how he's eating, healthy, and then of course basketball wise, he gave me a lot of pointers how to play pick and roll, how to not kill my dribble, how to go, through the paint and always have all the options open. And of course my game is totally different than his, but those little things, how to push the pace, pitch ahead, pick and roll. And of course, during the games, every time out, he would say something. "Yeah, I see this. Maybe at that situation, you should do this, not And it helps a lot, And confidence-wise, when you have a two-time MVP, and my first year when I struggled, I didn't play much. He was always in my ear, like, you know what, just be ready. The chance gonna come. You don't know when, but you have to be ready. So you have to put a lot of hard work in behind the scenes. You have to develop yourself, and then you never know. Maybe one or two chances you're gonna have in your first year. If you're not playing well,
Yeah, you have to take it.
yeah, exactly. So that was like he was preparing me to to work and to be patient and work for my opportunity.
And you guys have even had a similar journey. He came from Santa Clara University. He was international, undersized point guard. You came from Europe, so there was, I guess, he maybe saw a bit of you in himself. Especially coming to the States at such an early age.
I don't know. Maybe, but exactly, yeah. He was undersized. Like crafty point
yeah.
guard, and I mean, just he was amazing to me, And he was telling me, when he was growing up, he played a lot of soccer, and he had a lot of Croatian friends, Serbian friends in Canada, and I don't know, I'm coming from this area, so maybe
there was a natural connection.
Yeah, some connection or something. But it did help because we had the same agent, Bill Duffy, and we had a plan for myself. If I'm gonna go to the NBA, if we can get into the Phoenix Suns to be a backup to Steve, because Bill, he know what kind of guy he is, and that he gonna give me, help actually.
And you mentioned how you initially had to work for playing time. It wasn't a lot of playing time early on in your career, but it kind of seems that your coming out moment in the NBA was in 2010 during that season where you guys, the Suns finally beat the Spurs.
Yeah.
You were an intricate part of that run. You had an unbelievable game where you scored 23 in the fourth quarter, I think.
Yeah.
When you revisit that matchup and that whole series, would you agree that this was your coming out party in the NBA? Was that a moment where you realized, okay, I belong in this league and I can actually hold my own against all these superstars at that stage, because you're playing against legitimate playoff teams?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. That was the game that kind of put me out there. Of course, my first year, Terry Porter was a coach. I didn't play much. Then they fired him, and Elvin Gentry took over. And immediately, he told me, "Kid, you're gonna play. You're gonna be a backup." So, then the second year, 2010, when we make the conference finals, we really had a good chemistry. You know, we played that up-tempo game, fast-paced, run and gun.
7 seconds or less.
Exactly, and shooting a lot of threes. I mean, for that time, it was only, what, 16, 17 threes a game. Now
It's in first quarter.
Exactly. And but I always like to play fast, you know. And Alvin, he really, and Steve Kerr as a GM, you know, they really kind of make that team that we really play well together. But then, yeah, we had like, okay, I don't know, maybe 58 wins, something like that. And finally the playoffs come, and then it's a different ballgame. You know, everything is more tougher contact. Referees are allowing more to hold and everything, and that was a pretty interesting challenge for me. First time in playoffs. We beat the Portland Trail Blazers the first round, I think so, and then we got the Spurs.
Yeah.
And I remember the meeting before that first game is like, okay, every year the Phoenix Suns play against the San Antonio, they always lose, and that was the big emphasis, you know, not this year. And you know, the Spurs at that time, you know, they were so tough. But yeah, we swiped them 4-0. It was something unbelievable. And definitely that game that I went off kind of put me on the map. Okay. And I even myself, I said to myself, okay, finally I belong in this league, you know. So
I bet it feels good to finally get your game. But talking about the second time, your second stint with the Phoenix Suns, you earned the most improved player, All NBA nod as well. What was different that time? Did you feel like, okay, you went from I belong in this league and now to, okay, I can contribute on a really high level, being one of the most reliable point guards at that time? What clicked for you?
That's a good question. You know, the management changed after 2010, and then I got traded.
Yeah.
They traded me to Houston. And I was on my last year of my deal, and it was like, okay, new team. I was the 4-point guard. You know, when we went into the training camp was Kyle Lowry, Johnny Flynn, Jeremy Lin, and me.
Yeah.
And if I remember that training camp, oh my God, we were like going at each other. It was really tough. But then, you know, slowly I became a backup. Kevin McHale helped me a lot. And then I had some luck too, because Kyle Lowry got some infection, and he was out for the season. I mean, not out for the season, he was out for 2 or 3 months. And then I became a starting point guard. And then that was the first time that I really felt, okay, now this is my show. You know, I have to run the team, and you know, I don't have to look behind my back, or you know, or sometimes when I got a chance, I have to have the same level as Steve Nash. You know how hard that is. You know, you come from the bench, and now I need to worry that the level of basketball doesn't drop. That was the toughest thing to do, you know. And then, then I was a free agent. I had an amazing season, a free agent, and Phoenix Suns came back. And I said to myself, you know what? I didn't like how I finished in organization who gave me the first chance. I went back, and Jeff Hornacek was a coach, and immediately we clicked. And I had one of the best season in Phoenix.
And you became an All-Star as well later on. How did that feel? Like, was that I assume that it was gratifying for you after being somewhat underlooked, then being a guy that's coming from the bench to actually making your way to becoming an All-Star. I'm pretty sure, like you.
But, you know, when you're a kid, you're dreaming about this one day to play the All-Star game. At least I was. You know, you see Michael Jordan, Allen Iverson, Kobe, Steve Nash, all these guys. And if I go back, you know, 2013, 14, when I was most improved, all NBA team, that was the year that I should make the All-Star game.
Exactly.
and I have better numbers, everything, you know. But it didn't happen, you know. At that time, Anthony Davis was a rookie, and they had a game in New Orleans, so
Yeah.
they give him. But
A bit of nepotism.
no, it's like, I mean, don't get me wrong, Anthony
he deserved
Davis,
it, but
he deserved it. He was one of the biggest talents,
Yeah.
young talents at that time. So, and you know, I was a little bit disappointed because I didn't get the call. But you know, hey, it doesn't matter. You keep fighting. You come back the next day. You work hard. And then 2018 with Miami, I got a call, and of course I was super happy just to experience, you know, the vibe and everything. I was lucky too because it was in LA. So good city, you know, and it was fun, man. It was really fun.
And you know, you had, you know, that's when you kind of became a name in the NBA as well. You had, you know, the All-Star and everything, and then another transition happened in your life, where, in your career actually, where you were, you know, you started playing for the Miami Heat, and Miami Heat is a really well-known organization for specific reasons. You know, the Heat culture. There's Pat Riley. There's this emphasis on greatness that he, you know, built upon with the team, and later with the coach Eric Spoelstra. What was it like coming into an organization that has everything, that has a specific set of rules and the way players should behave, both on and off the court? You know, we've heard stories how Pat Riley has like some secret agents following players if they party too much. There's a lot of
He knows everything. He knows everything.
He knows everything. The Godfather knows everything.
The Godfather knows everything. Yeah.
And how was it like interacting with him? Like, what was your first impression of him when you met him? When he explained why he brought you there? What was that whole process? How did that process look like for you? And how did that maybe gave you some new perspective on what an NBA player should look like?
Yeah. You know, for me, it was nothing new because, you know, I'm coming from Europe, and I had many Serbian coaches who are strict, and, you know, but it was different because, you know, you spent 6 years in NBA, and you see how everything is loose, and, you know, you go by yourself to a lunch, you don't go as a whole team. But Miami was different. Miami was, you know, first we want to be the best conditioning team in NBA, so we had to do you know, some conditioning testing before the season. If you don't pass, you don't play until you pass. Then body fat every Monday. You have to be in the best. I mean, actually, he give you a number. You know, I had to be 195 and 6% body fat. If you don't make those numbers, you know, probably you're not gonna play until you get to those numbers. So then, you know, when you go on the road, we always had to wear Miami Heat gear. You know, so it has those similarities as a European team.
Yes, it does.
And I like that. You know,
It makes sense.
It makes sense. Yes. And on the end, you know, if they invest in you so much money, of course, you need to be professional. You need to be the best possible player that you can be. And I never had problems with that. But then some players, they do, you know, because they like that freedom, that, you know, a little bit loose things. But first meeting with him, I remember I came to his office, and he was like, Goran, we are happy to have you. Welcome to the team. Now it's time to go to work, and you know why we play for? And I said, of course, you know, the championship. And he's like, yeah, and he opened the drawer.
He showed the rings.
Showed all 9 rings.
That's his go-to move, it seems.
Yeah, it is. And I was like, and then he's like, choose one. I was like, what? He's like, which one? And then, you know, at that time I was like, I just pick one ring, and he's like, okay, we're gonna get you one. And you know, it never happened. But if I'm honest, I spent the best 7 years in my career was in Miami. Just how they interact, how Spoelstra, Pat, Mickey Harrison as the owners. I mean, everybody is at the high level of professionalism, and he's just it was just amazing to work. And the city is
Yeah,
is
Miami
beautiful,
yeah.
sunny, and water and everything. So
And then that's why you decided to actually you stayed and you live in Miami full time throughout the year.
I still live there. It's still my base. My kids are going to school there and everything. So every year when they're done, we come back to Slovenia for those 2 months, and then we go back. So, but yeah, I mean, Miami is my team, and always gonna be, because even with Phoenix, they were the first team. They give me a chance, but with Miami it was different, All-Star, then making the NBA Finals, and playing with Wade and Chris Bosh, and really limited games with CB, but just in general, because it was a full package. Had some friends there, sun, beach, good fans, good team. So Spolstra, the best one. Spolstra is for me the best coach that I had in my career. So yeah.
Yeah, you talked about almost going all the way, taking the home the ring. You were really close in the 2020 bubble. It was a significant year for many reasons. You were there for like 3 months or so.
Yeah.
You went all the way. Do you feel like it would be different if you hadn't got injured in the critical moments before the LA finals
Of course,
today?
I'm always gonna say yes, because you have to be confident, especially in NBA. Not only me, even Bam Adebayo got hurt. So, at that time I was the leading scorer, me and Jimmy, and we really played some tremendous basketball. We even beat Boston and Indiana, and who else was Milwaukee, yes, and Milwaukee too. So, but yeah, like you said, it was a really unique situation.
Yeah.
We were locked up for 3 months, couldn't go anywhere. We had a few restaurants on the property, and but that makes us closer. As a team, we really like each other. Everybody was hanging together, and the bad thing was, we played in front of empty gym.
Yeah.
It felt like practices a little bit, because of the noise. You only heard shoes and squeaking and this. But then the other thing that was really positive, no flying. So we can have back to back, and you would feel completely different, because when you go up into the air, everything swells up and the recovery is longer and everything. So from that standpoint, it was much easier.
Yeah, is it true that you guys from the Miami Heat stick to each other?
Yeah, we didn't talk to nobody.
Yeah.
And we were like,
Keeping it old school.
can I curse or no?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Fuck you guys, like we're not talking. And it was so funny because you have your ex-teammates, they walk pass pass by, and you're like,
Nothing.
We are in a war zone now. So
And the funny thing with the bubble was you mentioned there was no fans, there was no flying, but I remember there was those virtual fans on the screens that looked ridiculous.
that was bad.
And
For us, was like was just a wall.
Yeah.
And but it was some people in the stands. All the front office people and physios, and so it was, and the people from NBA who were working there. We had to test 3 times a day.
Yeah, it was very rigorous.
So it was crazy.
And staying with the Heat, we have the biggest legend of the franchise is D Wade. You had the opportunity to play with him. Some people call him. Some people have him in the top 3 best shooting guards in the NBA. What was something that stood out? Spending some time with him, seeing him on the court. What made him? What do you think made him special and maybe separated him from other great guards at that time in the NBA?
Man, I think his aura. He's making everybody better. I mean, his confidence is as high as it gets. It's crazy. And, that was the guy that when we need a point, when it was a clutch, he always delivers. It's unbelievable. I never, in my career, I was never apart with some players who, when game is on the line and he's like, "Oh, give me the ball, I'm gonna take care of
Clear out, give me the ball.
Yes, yeah, and you know what? And we really believe him. Like, D,
go.
come on,
There you go.
And that was, that what really surprised me, and just how smooth he was. At the beginning of his career, he was all downhill and dunking and this, and then people don't realize how smart he was. He knew all the angles, footwork. Then he developed that mid-range, the backing, and then he even at the 3-point and end of his career, he didn't shoot much of threes, but still, you have to, the crazy thing to me was always like, go under. Okay, you go under, but repeat, it was never a good coverage because he's seen that coverage so many years that he perfected. He's
It's automatic for him.
Exactly. So and they never I never seen somebody blitz him. I don't remember somebody double team him or something. But he was so crafty. Even if they double team, he would split and. He was too fast. Early. He was like.
That's why they call him the Flash.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's
and just this personality, like aura, is like as soon as if he would walk into this room, like you would feel it. It's like whoa, hey, D Wade in the room. It's crazy. Yeah.
Do you wish that you played with him a bit earlier in your career, or you don't have any kind of?
I don't have any regrets, but I would, I would love to play with him early. Probably for me would be a little bit tougher because he was on the ball a lot, and I played the same style. And but then we really developed some chemistry when I play pick and roll, that backdoor cut down the lane, and fast break. But what I really regret that I didn't play with Chris Bosh, because I really think that he would really complement my game. Pick and pop, pick and roll, stretch four, handoff, and with him. Imagine his big guy has to be up with him. If he set a screen, that would be easy for me to go around, and or if he's in drop coverage, CB is a little shooter. He would.
And he was one of the most underrated forwards, I would say, in the league at that time. And if he didn't have that health problem, who knows? Maybe he would be also viewed a bit different than he is right now.
And I really believe we would probably make the finals one of those years with him, because he was a difference maker. I did play with him maybe 5 games, something like that. He did came to Slovenia last year to play farewell game, and
last game.
He gave us a couple of minutes. I was like, CB, please, hey, it means a lot. It means a lot just to be here. You don't have to play. Come on, but he really want to to be on the floor.
His game is kind of perfect for today's age, where the stretch fives, stretch bigs are prominent in today's.
And he was fast too. He would give you jab, pump fake, and then boom. And it's really everybody's. The people from the Miami Heat organization or the media, they know how much he sacrificed for Big Three.
Yeah, a lot.
A lot, and he was the glue guy. So that's really imagine you come from Toronto averaging 25, 26 points a game, and your average drops to
your
15, 16.
Third option now.
So.
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to talk a little bit about the EuroBasket 2017. Your international career, it was the crown of it, so to speak. You won the MVP. How important was that to you? Talk a little bit about the experience, the emotion that you you felt like representing your national team? It's different than in the NBA, of course.
Well, yeah, I mean, really important. You know, as a kid, not as a kid, but even when you put that national team jersey on, you're like, you know what, this is it. You know, you're playing for your people, for your nation, and you know, I always want to win something. You know, in the past, when I was a little bit younger, we had amazing teams. You know, Nahbar, Bečirović, Rašo, Brezec, Jaka Laković, Smodiš, Erasm Lorbek. You know, those are the teams that we should probably win a few medals, and we can never go over the hump. With the closest we were 2009 in Poland. We were fourth. We had an amazing game against Croatia. Then we lost against Greece or Serbia, and then we were fourth. But and then 2017, I remember Igor Kokoško, a coach. I worked with him all my first 4 years in Phoenix Suns. He was my second dad, and we spent so many hours on the floor just practicing and making me better. And then Rašo Nesterović, who is the godfather to my kids, and he called me. He said, "What do you think about Igor?" And I'm like, "Yeah, bring him in." And then Igor signed, and then we discussed because we didn't have enough players, especially the position 4 was a little bit shaky, and we said, what if we go to Madrid and try to talk to Anthony Randolph? So me, Rašo, went there, and I told him, like, this is my last stint with the national team. If you want to play, we would love to have you. And he said, you know what, why not? And then from there on, young Luka, he was 17 years old. But not only that, but the main thing is Igor, just to create this chemistry. He kind of put European/American basketball together. We play a little bit faster, high pace, scoring a lot of points. And then, the rest of the team, Klemen Prepelić was huge, Jaka Blažić, Gašper Vidmar. We just create a chemistry that we never had before. And that was something that was really unique.
Yeah, for sure. I have to ask you, I think I know the answer, but would you trade that for NBA championship and a finals MVP? And a finals MVP?
In the NBA?
Yeah, in the NBA.
No, I cannot do that.
Okay.
No, you're playing for your country. Yeah. Come on, it's like,
Okay, I had to ask.
Yeah, I mean, but it's close though. It's tough decision, man.
And talking about you're a perfect representative of international or European players that actually made it into the NBA. Especially, I think it's very hard for guards to become an all-star compared to like wing players or even like forwards and centers. What well, it's a two-part question. First, like, do you think what everybody's saying that European basketball has caught up to US born players? And why do you think we don't have too many like all-star guards from Europe in the NBA? Do you think it's the way we develop players here? Do you think it's something else? Do you think there's a lack of maybe trust still, even though I don't believe that might be the truth, but maybe there is something to it? And how do you envision like the global footprint of European players in the NBA in the future, especially now that we have so many MVPs? Well, the last few MVPs were from Europe in the NBA.
Yeah, that's a good question. All the MVPs, the All-Stars, they always position 5, 4, 3, 2. I mean, 2 as well.
Luka is an exception right now with Giannis.
But no point guards. That's I don't know, even if you look back in the day, was not a lot of European point guards that you can say that they were the main point. Was Tony Parker, Ricky Rubio at that one time, me. Was Schroeder a starting point guard?
He was on some teams, but he wasn't consistent. You know?
Who else? Is somebody else?
There's not a lot of them.
We were talking about it. Yeah.
We were discussing this right before we did the interview, and we were
and then thinking. If you look, even the color, You know, the white European point guards.
Not a lot of them.
Not a lot. It was only me, Ricky Rubio, that you can say that it's like that you are the starting point guard.
And you have like 30 plus minutes per
yeah.
game, and
Jose Calderon. I'm sorry.
yeah,
we forgot.
yeah, okay.
He was.
He was he with the Raptors. He was like 15
He was
points,
exactly.
nine
He was
assists.
yeah.
He was consistent, but
Yes.
that's about it.
But then was American point guards. You know, Steve Blake or
Yeah.
what was the Luke Ridnour.
Yeah.
Jason Williams.
Jason Williams, Kirk
Yeah.
Heinrich.
Yeah. Kirk. Okay, now you know.
Yeah.
But like Europeans, yeah. But I
Not a
don't
lot
know
of
why. I don't know why. That's a really good question. Maybe a confidence. I don't know.
Do you think it's a skill? You think it's because of
I
the skill
think-
level or because of athleticism?
I think it's always
Or
something.
combination.
Something is lacking.
Yeah.
You know, you have a great passer
Huh.
who is not fast, who is not, you know, who cannot keep up with the tempo.
Mm-hmm.
Then I don't know. That's, you know, now you.
We were talking about it in
it's
the
crazy,
car,
it's crazy, yeah.
and I always think, okay, there's guys who are, like you said, good passers. They can shoot the ball, but maybe they're not as athletic as they should be.
And you know how it is too. American point guards, they're a little bit more flashy. You know, I remember when I was at the practice, and you know they're doing all these drills like behind the back, between the legs. Like he's putting in like 4 combos to get to the pick and roll. I said, I don't need that.
Yeah, you need 2 dribbles.
I like it. Between the legs. I give you, you know, a
little
hit.
bump, yeah.
Then I square myself, and I'm already there.
Yeah.
You know, I was never like, you know, like,
Too flash.
yeah. But I play. This was my limit. I said, you know what? I can get to my spot any day, anywhere on the floor, and that was it. You know, nothing like behind the back 3 times between the you know. But yeah, but then for the fans,
Yeah.
it's much nicer to watch Kyrie than than me.
It's entertainment at the end of the day.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah.
And do you think like we're gonna have this? You think this? I would say domination from the European players in terms of being MVPs and having so many of them that are actually contributing on play of contending teams. Do you think this will continue in the future?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope, because if I look back in the history, even when it was Dražan Petrovic, Šremf, Sabonis, Stojakovic, what was the perception of European players? Oh, they are soft. They're not good enough. Actually the league was closed. They didn't give them a chance to show to showcase their talents. Dražan Petrovic in Portland Trailblazers.
He was warming the bench.
Exactly, and then he went to New Jersey Nets and exploded. Yeah. But now I think GMs and the owners they believe more. They believe that European players can play now, especially now in the last 5 years. You have all international players, MVPs, and this, and now they finally think, okay, it's not only about physics, how you look, how fast, how high you jump.
It's about IQ.
It's about IQ, understanding the game, and But I understand them too. When you watch some player and you measure everything. You measure how high he jumps, how he looks, how long his arms are, everything. But then it's just one side of the paper. Yeah. You don't know how he's gonna react when you're gonna put him 5-on-5, and if he's gonna understand the system. So that's I think the European players have advantage because they know how to play the system. They understand the game.
It's different. Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah, and I wanted to finish off with a little bit of a quick hitter, so to speak. We spoke a lot about the international players. From your standpoint, you are the coach. Who would be the best 5, maybe a starting 5 of the international European players?
All time?
All time, past, present.
I mean, you have to go with Jokic right now.
Yeah.
What? 2-time MVP?
3.
3, I guess.
Yeah.
It should be
Should be maybe
you
five.
know, 4
maybe
or 5, you know, just the numbers. So yeah, you know, you have to go with Jokic, you know, but here is a lot of good players. You know, Paul Gasol, Marc Gasol. I mean, you have so many that is tough to put. But yeah, I'm gonna definitely put Jokic because of the numbers, the accolades that he has.
Yeah.
And
Maybe the toughest opponent you had to guard,
Chris Paul.
Chris Paul. Yeah.
But only not one-on-one. It was not tough because I was bigger, you know, taller. But just how he plays the game, you know, he calls pick and roll. Blake Griffin comes to hit you. You have to fight through.
the
Then it's a re-pick, DeAndre Jordan. So you know, immediately in one game you have to fight through 90 screens, and on the end of the day you're like, you know, it's tough.
Yeah, and the funniest teammate you had, and maybe some of
Udonis
anecdote.
Haslem.
Udonis Haslem.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
hilarious.
He should be a comedian. I swear.
you know, I watch his podcast, and that guy,
It's
he's all
funny.
in, you know.
All in. And even when he played, he was all in.
Yeah.
You know, funny story.
And he was underdog as well. Like
Big, huge. Yeah.
he had to prove himself.
Yeah. Funny story. We played a game against Philadelphia 76ers. And, you know, at that time, UD didn't play much. And he was always, you know, on the bench and, you know, giving advice to the players and how
Veteran
to
leadership,
play. Yeah,
and-
leadership and everything. You know, right hand of Spo. And then, I don't know who was it. We got in a foul trouble. So Spo calls UD. UD, go in. And then, you know, probably he didn't play like 20 games. He goes in and he started guarding Dwight Howard. And Dwight Howard, I don't know, like he did something to him and UD lost it. But first possession, UD score. Back defense, he make a steal or something. And then he literally played 2 minutes. But he played great. And then Dwight Howard did something UD like.
That's what he was waiting
Well,
for.
that's what he was waiting for.
That's what he was
and he
in.
got ejected. 2 minutes, and then I remember after the game, we get to the locker room, and UD is like with his towel on. He's like, "Man, I'm so stupid. Why did I do this?" But that's his fire.
Yeah.
His fire. You know, he's unique. One of the best teammates that I had. Leadership, everything. I mean, unbelievable human being too. So.
And he stayed on the Heat for a long period of time.
He's still there.
He's still there, and but even though he didn't play,
Yes,
they
yeah.
kept him because of veteran leadership, and it seems there's not a lot of that in the NBA these days. Like it seems like the league has become very young.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I really believe that, especially those young players, they need somebody who was in all the trenches.
Yeah.
Who went through everything, and you know, of course, some young players they need less time to, you know, to get at that level. Somebody needs more time, but yeah, I do believe that every team would need one of UDs. You know, just to not you know, on the end of the day. He's not only giving you advice about basketball, he's giving you advice off the court stuff, about life, about everything. So, you know, especially those young kids, when they sign those big deals with a lot of money, they go crazy a little bit.
Course.
You know, you have to learn from mistakes, but the best way to do it is to listen to the vet that you have on next to you. You know.
And just one last question. You know, now it's free agency, trade deadlines in the NBA. The Heat didn't make too many moves. It seems like, you know, we saw photos of KD being like having lunch with the Heat. Nothing happened. It didn't seem like they lost Duncan Robinson. What do you think is the future of the Heat right now, and why do you think they weren't able to make some kind of a splash? Because it seems like they're like a playoff team, but they need a few more pieces to actually become a legitimate playoff contender.
Yeah, the last couple of years was rough on the free agency. We did make some moves, you know, with Rozier.
Yeah.
And then he didn't play well. Everybody expected this summer that something gonna happen. Okay, now Duncan Robinson had 20 million. That's off the salary cap, so at least now you have some room to, try to find something. But I know for a fact that they went for KD. It didn't happen. Now what's the backup plan? We'll see. I mean, we have this young kid that we signed with. From Lithuania, from the draft. He's 19. She's 6'5", solid, can shoot. He's gonna need some time to develop. And Miami has those coaches that they develop really, really well. But I don't know. Maybe they're waiting for Giannis. Everybody's waiting for Giannis.
Yeah, everybody's waiting for Giannis.
Giannis is.
And he's good.
He's waiting. He's waiting. What Milwaukee gonna do? They signed Turner. I don't know about that. Lillard. That was something that I was really surprised because to wait a player who has 113 million on the contract, and maybe I don't know. I thought he gonna rehab an injury and then maybe they're gonna trade him or something like that. But now they're gonna have this 113 million on salary cap. So.
Crazy move.
It's crazy, man.
Crazy
So I don't know what it was. What's behind the scenes? What happened? Maybe I don't know. But I think when you have every year when you have some top dogs in NBA, everybody is waiting. It's like a avalanche. You're waiting for one guy.
Yeah.
Like
and
let's say 30 teams, and then as soon as this guy gets off the board, then slowly
everything happens.
Yeah. So we'll see.
But from my perspective, it seems like Miami Heat will have to
give something back.
Yeah, but also it seems like they're in a stage where they'll have to develop players instead of signing big free agents, because it seems that they're kind of. I'm not saying that's true, but that's the perception that they're kind of avoiding Miami because they know it's a different culture.
Yes. Yeah.
And a lot of people, especially nowadays, a lot of players, they don't want to commit on that level. There needs to be some kind of sacrifice.
And they understand that.
And Miami, they understand that
because they say, we are not for everybody.
Yeah.
You're gonna do our way, or you're not gonna be part of our team. So
it's the Heat way or the highway.
Exactly. And it's gonna be interesting too with Phoenix, with David Booker. I mean, not David Booker, with Beal. Okay, he's already a little bit older, but I know he's from Miami, But then, what? If you bring Bill, you have Tyler Hero, same position, younger, hungrier,
And I don't think Bradley Beal is coming from the bench. I mean, that experiment failed in
But, if I look, Miami, they are good at developing young talents. They got Jovic, they got Ware, Bam, Tyler. Jaime Jaquez, he didn't play much last year. Then you still have Rozier. Rozier has 1 more year left. So probably, somebody gonna want him, and it's gonna be, Miami gonna probably trade him. So we'll see, man. We'll see. It's it's in the end of the day, when you bring players, when you want player, it has to be both ways. I can wish, I don't know, Jokic to come to Miami, but if he doesn't want to come, it's
you're not going to force him.
Exactly.
You can't force the guy. Okay, I think we're done. We appreciate your time. We appreciate being here. Thanks a lot for the interview. Good luck with the camp. Good luck with whatever you're gonna do in the future. Maybe with Miami Heat. Maybe Miami Heat needs more consulting. An outside body to kind of help with the process.
I think Adam Simon and Pat Riley and those guys, they have so much experience, but. You never know. I'm open to anything. I'm just happy where I am at my, point of my life. Have so much time now with my kids that, when I was playing, I was away from home. Yeah. But thank you for having me. So
Miami Heat, you have a guy here available for some kind of consultancy gig, maybe. But Goran, thanks a lot one more time, and it was truly a pleasure.
Thank you.